So President Biden doesn't care, it seems. Joining us now, a man that does and never stopped. Scott Mann, retired Green Beret and Task Force Pineapple co-founder. It's all chronicled in his brand new book, which is excellent. Tells the true story of how veterans rallied together once we left the theater in Afghanistan. Scott, why was it important for you to continue to get our allies and our citizens out?
Well, you know, in special operations and in the military, Brian, there's a promise that I have your back. You know, we're trained from the time we come in special operations that you do not leave your partner on the battlefield under any conditions. And we were held to that account to some very stringent standards for the 20-year war. And then all of a sudden, the very senior leaders who held us to that account were the ones that walked away from that partner force in the largest wholesale abandonment in modern history.
Scott, how resourceful did you have to be? Can you give us an example of what you had to do once our soldiers left the scene?
I'll give you an example. A Green Beret turned Syracuse inner city school teacher named Zach, who his hero is Harriet Tubman. He came up with the idea to design an underground railroad that incorporated an open sewage canal and a 4-foot hole in the fence, combining cooperation between the 82nd Airborne and these shepherds that were working on their cell phones to make this connection. He put all of this together in less than 6 hours, and it was how we moved several hundred people through. He did that without the help of anyone, really, from the government, other than those young paratroopers on the gate.
When did you realize you were their only hope? You, along with other allied veteran groups?
Yeah, I think for me, it was when my friend Nizam on the 15th basically just said to me, sir, everybody's gone. The president's gone. The generals are gone. You know, I'm not afraid to die. I just don't want to die alone. And for me, that young man who I've known since 2010, everything about the war hinged on whether he lived or died. And in talking to all of the veterans I interviewed after this happened, they all said the same thing. It really came down to friendship, to loyalty, to the man that you had shared a foxhole with, and there was no way that we were going to leave him behind.
How do you explain that the administration didn't see that need to get our allies out? Because we're going to need allies again, maybe in Afghanistan, maybe somewhere else, and they're going to go to school on how we treated them.
Yeah, I mean, does anybody think that we're going to take on China or Russia unilaterally? It's not going to happen. We're not even going to take on al-Qaeda unilaterally, who, by the way, is reconstituting in Afghanistan. We're going to work by, with, and through partner forces. And we abandoned our partner forces. And frankly, Brian, we've got a systemic habit of abandoning partner forces from the Montagnards in Vietnam, the Kurds in Syria, the Iraqi military, and now the Afghan military. Decades.
How are our veterans and the men and women still in uniform and that were, who fought so brilliantly through 2 campaigns, adjusted to a very difficult battlefield, dealing with the way the president chose to leave?
I was just talking to an iconic Green Beret team sergeant named Donnie, who was part of Pineapple and single-handedly helped hundreds of Afghans get out. He told me that if he had known on 9/12/2001, after al-Qaeda attacked, what he knows right now about how we'd treat our allies, he would never have walked to the recruiting station and joined Special Forces. And if he has his way, his son will go nowhere near the Army.
Well, that's sad, and maybe that's why recruiting's so far down.
Recruiting and retention, these young men and women have seen what's happened,
right,
and they don't want a part of that.
Well, when they want to see greatness, they'll read your book, Operation Pineapple, and they'll see soldiers who keep on giving, even though that you're out of uniform and had to sacrifice your own personal savings accounts and 401ks to do it, because the government left you behind.
And let's keep them in our prayers and our Gold Star families as well, because they're hurting right now.
Yeah, pick up the book, and it tells the story. Everyone needs to read it. Meanwhile,
hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.